We heard from Kamala Harris yesterday. We heard from Donald Trump, but we also heard from outgoing President Joe Biden. And I want to focus in first on the Oval Office address that he delivered at 8 p.m. last night. I was live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook streaming this. And the reaction of many of you, many in the audience, was very similar to the reaction that I had. This is a display in humility, the likes of which, forget about, we would never see from Donald Trump. We would never expect nor even consider remotely possible for someone like Trump to do what President Biden has done, which is to say, I think I'm a good person for this job. I think I've done well, but I am not the best positioned person to carry it forward, and therefore I am going to step aside. We knew that the content of the speech was going to be a reinforcement of Joe Biden's decision not to run for re-election and to endorse Kamala Harris. What I didn't necessarily expect, and maybe I was just wrong not to expect it, because the truth is I know Biden is a humble guy as far as politicians who believe they should be running the free world go, right? Which implicit in that there is, of course, some ego. I know of Biden as a humble guy. But the humility that he expressed was refreshing in a context where you have egomaniacal narcissists like Trump insisting that they should be in power and the sole decision makers on every issue. So let's get to what I think were kind of like the core or critical couple minutes of President Biden's speech last night.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice. Franklin Roosevelt, who inspired us to reject fear. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures. It's about we, the people. And we can never forget that. And I never have. I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come.
Yes.
America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division. We have to decide, do we still believe in honesty, decency, respect, freedom, justice, and democracy? In this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that? Does character in public life still matter? I believe I know the answer to these questions because I know you, the American people. And I know this. We are a great nation because we are good people.
One of the most remarkable things about this entire situation, which at this point, to some degree, there's a feeling of inevitability that this is the direction the Democratic nomination is going to go. By saying, I will not run for re-election, by showing this level of humility, by putting the country first, by putting the country ahead of, if I stay in for my own reasons, it seems more likely Trump wins, and that's a really bad thing. He's reminding us Trump is constitutionally unable to even consider thinking about the world in this way. But Joe Biden sets himself up to be remembered in history as one of the most successful one-term presidents, one term to a degree by choice, although some would say, no, it's not by choice. It's lose to Trump or get out. But put that aside for a moment. Getting the country out of the COVID pandemic with better economic standing than any of our wealthy Western allies, and reorienting course, which matters much more if it doesn't go right back to Trump in January. And President Biden closing this address to the American people by saying it's now up to you at the end of the day.
I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people. I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
This is the sort of speech that, while in a way it's kind of unremarkable, listen, you realize you can't win, and now you're coming up with the way to put the most positive spin on it. It takes something to be able to do this that many elected officials simply don't have in them, and Trump is certainly at the top of that list. So a very clear, decisive Joe Biden last night, and now let's contrast it with Donald Trump's confused ramblings in North Carolina. I think one of the most interesting recent developments in medicine is our new understanding of how metabolism impacts aspects of our health. And that's why I love our sponsor, Lumen. Lumen's the world's first handheld metabolic coach. Quite simply, it's just a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it'll tell you if you're burning fat or carbs. And on that basis, it'll give you tailored guidance with the goal of improving nutrition, workouts, sleep, even stress management. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning. You'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. And then Lumen will give you a personalized nutrition plan for the day that's based on those particular measurements. Now, you can also breathe into it before or after workouts and meals, which gives you other sets of actionable insights. Your metabolism is like your body's engine. It's how your body turns food into fuel, and it keeps you going and feeling good. And Lumen will give you a better understanding of that. Go to lumen.me/Pacman to get 15% off your Lumen. The link is in the description.